Okay, today we're going to talk about the sine function. Okay, so the sine function is basically the y values of any point on the unit circle. So sine of 0 would be 0, this y coordinate here. Sine of 30 would be 1/2. And sine of 45 would be square root of 2 over 2. So what we're trying to do is find the value of sine for different values of theta. So let's just do an example. Sine of 5 pi over 6. The first step is to find 5 pi over 6 on the unit circle. We know it's going to be right here. So sine of 5 pi over 6 is going to be this distance right here, which is 1/2. Okay? So another example is what is the value of sine of theta for theta equals 270 degrees. So we just look in the unit circle, find 270 degrees, and the y coordinate is going to be -1. So sine of theta is -1. So now let's work on a different problem. Let's try to graph the sine function. Okay, so let's just say we have this graph here. Okay. So let's label the graph. So each of these intervals, let's just call this one, this right here is 0. This is pi, and then this right here is 2 pi. The sine of 0 is 0. Then midway between 0 and pi, we get pi over 2. The sine is 1. And then sine of pi is 0. Sine of 3 pi over 2 is -1. That's midway between these two. And then sine of 2 pi is 0. So you can see that the sine value goes up. So you can imagine if we find the y value here, it's going to go up, right? It's going to go up, going up, 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 up until it reaches a value of 1, which is right here. Okay, and then it decreases from there. It's going to keep decreasing until it gets to pi. Where it's 0. So it goes up, then it decreases, until it gets to 0. So it went up, and then down, and then now we're at 0. Now, after pi, all the values are negative, so it goes down. So the sine keeps going down until it gets to 3 pi over 2, where it reaches a minimum of -1. So it was down, 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 till it reaches a minimum. And then it starts to go back towards 0. So that's the graph of the sine function right here. Okay, let's do a different example. So here we're trying to find the period of the following function. So why don't we try to use our graphing calculator for this? Okay, so let's try to plot this graph here. Y equals sine of 4 theta, or x. Okay, in our window, let's make our x min 0, our x max 2 pi, our x scale pi over 2. And y min would be -2, y max will be 2, and then graph that. Okay, you can see on the graphing calculator that we have in a period in a window of 2 pi, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cycles. Okay, so this right here is 2 pi. Oh, can't write on it. So this here is 2 pi. There are 4 cycles. So the period is 2 pi divided by 4. Right? Because if we look at the graph, the period is just one cycle, the horizontal length of one cycle. So we had 4 cycles in 2 pi radians. After we gone 2 pi radians here, we had 4 of them. So each one has a period of pi over 2. Okay, in our next lecture we're going to talk about finding the amplitude and the period and graphing.